Hey guys, I'm Jerry Miculek, and this is going to be one of the first-person shooting sports videos. And what that entails is me running a stage of fire at a 3-gun competition. So what we have here at this multi-gun event is I have to have more than one gun on me at a time. So I'm going to start with the rifle, shoot a series of targets, unload it, put it on my back, or whatever I want to do with it. I have to bring it with me. Pick up my shotgun, shoot a series of targets, either unload it or put it in the safety drum with the safety on, go through the shoot house with my handgun, shoot multiple targets from different locations, close quarters, long range, and then throw it in a drop box, get on the rooftop, retrieve my rifle again off my person, reload it, get back into the fight, solve the problem. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it should be interesting to watch. The course of fire, guys, was the rifle was loaded at the ready position. On the start timer, I had a couple of headshots to make. They had one real close, about 15 feet, and they had another headshot with no shoots around it at about 25, 30 yards offhand. So the first two targets I engaged actually took a little bit of technique. You had to remember your holdover. Also, when you were coming into that second head box, you wanted to be sure that you were stopped and not get a follow through and hit a no shoot left or right of it. So those targets had to be addressed with a lot of precision. So from there, when I had to swing over to my left, there was 3 or 4 USPSA half targets. So again, just the head and about that much of the shoulder. 2 shots on each, or 1 in the head satisfies the course requirement. Unload the rifle. Empty chamber, take the magazine out, sling it. Either muzzle up, muzzle down. And that's going to be shooter preference on how you sling your equipment. Everybody has a little different theory, and also we're going to be climbing ladders and do a lot of physical activity. So how you address putting that rifle on your back can mean how fast you can move. So something to think about when you do your dry fire. So anyway, finish up the rifle, empty it out, picked up the shotgun. It was laying down on a log, facing down range, chamber hot, safety on. You picked it up. You had about 15 different steel knockdown targets. And if you wanted to be quick on a stage, you had to shoot them on the move. And you might have noticed on the footage there, they were keen enough to put no-shoot targets in the proximity. So you couldn't use your whole pattern. You had to cut your pattern. And that's something else you want to be aware of as a shotgun shooter, is how big is my pattern at what yard, so you can pull your pattern to the side and not hit the no shoot. So you have to think about all this while you're running and while you're doing your walkthroughs. So I had about 15 of those guys to satisfy. I had to do a couple of reloads. I had to pick up a couple of shots. I didn't want to get too close to the no shoot, so it took me a couple of rounds to actually see where my pattern lived at and made the shots. And with the shotgun, you saw when I put it in the drum, either I could leave it in the drum with the action open, completely empty, or I can have a round in the chamber with the safety on. So you have to remember to put your safety on, because if they come through after you finish your course of fire and you have a hot chamber and your safety is on fire, that's a match DQ. So it's very important how you leave your equipment. It's a safety violation. Get rid of the shotgun, draw your pistol. Your pistol's going to be on your hip there. It's going to be loaded. It's going to be ready to rock and roll. I'm shooting open, so I've got 27 rounds in the handgun. You notice when I went into the shoot house, there were some targets left and right. How you engage those targets is up to you. Also, when you ran to the end, you had to jump up on a bench and look through the window, and there was a series of targets on the right side. But what you have to remember on this particular stage, you saw me when I ran through there and shot the shoot house, and then I went through the window and shot a series of targets. When I ran back out and I came in the other side of the shoot house, there was also a series of targets, and there was some steel knockdowns out of the window to the left. I think there was 6 of them there. Then I ran to that back window again on the other side. There were targets that overlapped one another that you can only see from certain windows. So you had to remember from your walkthrough not to leave steel targets unengaged. That's a severe penalty. So when you notice when I finished that course of fire, when I was running out of the shoot house, there was a drop box with a handgun. There again, if you had a pistol with a manual safety, if it has an external safety, you have to have it on. That M&P has an internal safety. All I have to do is leave it in the box hot, or I could drop the mag and drop the round out of the chamber, make it totally safe. Either way satisfies the safety requirement of the stage. Drop your handgun. Now, I went back to the left, and you notice there was a ladder, a wooden ladder, and you can see by the footage there, from the previous shooters, there's a lot of mud on this ladder, and there was no safety guard on this ladder. So when you came up to the roof, you had to actually go around and get up on the rooftop. And all the time that you're doing this, you have your rifle slung on your back. It's going to be empty. So when you get up on the rooftop, I had to reload and engage a series of paper targets. And then in the distance, you'll notice there was 3 steel targets. They were the little MGM auto poppers. They were about that tall and about that wide. One shot on each satisfied that, one hit on each satisfied the course requirement. And you can hear right when I finished the stage, my time was a 126.49, I think he said. So I was in the moment for almost 2 minutes, and you can tell by the way I was breathing when I would pick up a rifle. I was pretty winded, and when you pick up whatever platform you have to shoot, you have to control your breathing and then get back into the fight, satisfy the course requirement. Finished up, showed clear, and then handed down an empty rifle, and then exited on the ladder. So all in all, it was a very fun stage. It had a lot of complicated technique there involved. So all in all, 2 minutes in a stage of fire is relatively long, but it made it just for a very fun shoot.